But many thanks for your time and your presentation today. It was fantastic. And now I would like to introduce Katie Boylan, Gemma Gilmore, and Aaron Chalk. And I know I introduced them at the very start of the webinar. And now we're going to go through another really innovative campaign that was a cultural catalyst and made a huge difference to a local gem in Ireland in terms of the brand you're going to talk through. And this campaign and this case study won gold at the Media Awards earlier in the year. So hand over to the team now, and many thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kieran.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I think probably the only objective Kieran's had with this webinar is to get everyone hungry before lunch. So we're going to move from McDonald's through now to Cadbury, and we're going to talk to you about our campaign, which is all about purple versus yellow, the tastiest election in Ireland. And we're really, really proud that this won gold for best use of audio. Okay, so today, as Kieran said, you have myself from Spark Foundry, you have Erin from FO, and you have Katie Boylan from IRS Plus. So just a little bit of background before we get into it. Cadbury Snack, it's the #1 biscuit brand in Ireland, and it's a really iconic product. It's a really nostalgic brand. And if anybody has friends or family that live abroad, I'm sure you're not the only person that gets asked to bring it in your suitcase or in your handbag over to them because it's really missed. And for Mondelez, in a world where they have so many iconic brands and global brands, the likes of Oreo and Velveeta, etc., this for them is a real local gem. So even though the budgets might be massive, but actually the prioritization from a business point of view on this brand and on this product is really, really strong. So that's great for us. However, over the past couple of years, there have been some things happening on Snack that have been negatively affecting it. So first of all, the business has been relying quite a lot on promotions, so in-store promotions. And we as advertisers and marketers, we know that that isn't the best route to go down in terms of long-term effectiveness and long-term growth. Also, I know the guys from the McDonald's team talked about the cost of living crisis. For anybody in the world of chocolate, there's also a cocoa crisis, in case you weren't aware. And what that means is that unfortunately, because of this cocoa crisis, cocoa costs are increasing dramatically. And unfortunately, that means that the cost is being passed on to the consumer as well. And then finally, we have an issue with being relevant to today's biscuit consumers. So unfortunately, biscuit consumers in general are getting older. So we need to make sure that we're maintaining, but actually growing the brand. We need to make sure we're bringing in new and younger consumers, but also we need to make sure that we have some sort of relevance with them as well. So this was something that we knew that we really had to attack. So the ask from the business, from the Mondelez and from the Cadbury business, it was actually really, really clear for us. It was transforming Snack from the iconic product that we talked about to that iconic brand. And we knew that we had to do that by getting people talking about the product and the brand, and also making sure that we were embedded into the culture and the society that I spoke about. So how we're going to do that? Well, Erin's going to talk to you about that now.
Thanks, Gemma. In 2024, Ireland, it was saturated with political discourse, yet many consumers kind of felt disconnected or fatigued with all this conversation. The year was full of referendums, as well as a whole host of elections. You had your local, European, general, and of course, the big American election. All of this news and noise was dominating the airwaves right throughout the year. And that's where the idea struck us to create a parallel election that everyone could enjoy, and one that brought a smile instead of a sigh. Cadbury Snack fans, they're loyal, but they're often split. They're split between the chocolate-rich purple fans versus the crumbly yellow devotees. And we leaned into that divide and turned it into a full-blown snack election. Two parties, two iconic candidates, and one decisive decision: which snack rules them all. To do so, we built a campaign that mimicked a real-life national election between the purple and the yellow snack. Each party had a representative that featured in a 30-second satirical party political broadcast ad. They took part in tongue-in-cheek radio debates, and every element was engineered to invite interaction and laughter over the airwaves with our listeners. To bring the characters to life, we enlisted comedians to play our snack candidates, which added a layer of charm and mischief. DJs and listeners were invited to get involved in the debate, and listeners were invited to get involved with on-air voting and discussion, allowing Snack to position perfectly in the cultural moment and tapping into the political zeitgeist all throughout the year. Here is an example of the Cadbury Snack debate as one of our marquee pieces of creative that ran in the campaign.
Hello and welcome to the Cadbury Snack debate. We have yellow and purple in studio ready to go head to head. To Purple Snack first, you narrowly won in 2023. Will the public vote you in again?
I believe yes. Purple brings a biscuit sandwich surrounded by chunky milk chocolate, which is still the people's favourite.
And to you, Yellow, why should the Irish public vote for you?
We know the public cares about our superior crumbly shortcake smothered chocolate that's both smooth and creamy, perfect to dunk in a cup of tea.
Purple, your response?
Everyone knows Purple Snack goes perfect with tea, but unlike Yellow, we welcome the coffee drinkers.
Well, that's simply not true. I mean, yellow represents all hot drink enthusiasts.
Now you're excluding the iced coffee and iced tea drinkers.
Well, some of my best friends are iced coffee drinkers.
Just not your voters.
Well, that's all we have time for here at the Snack Debate. Thanks to both Purple and Yellow. Remember to pick up your favourite in-store to cast your vote.
And now I'm going to hand over to Katie, who's going to bring us through the strategy and media.
Thanks, Erin. So our strategy was simple. We wanted to mirror the structure of the election and tap into that kind of election fever that Erin spoke about. But we wanted to make it funnier. We wanted to make it happier, more feel good. We didn't want any, voter apathy. And we wanted to make it a vote for joy. And by using our 15 local and regional stations, Cadbury has unrivaled access into the local communities, but they also have access to the trusted position our stations hold in their franchise areas, because the trust scores for local radio are off the charts. So by using that trust, we transformed our stations into kind of mini regional campaign headquarters for the taste debate. And we executed it in a number of ways. First of all, with the 30 and 60-second ads that Erin spoke about. So these really drove awareness and drove frequency and of the taste debate, and the humour element really made them stand out. And then every Friday, regionality was kind of core to this campaign, and we wanted to tailor the debate by each region. So every Friday we had a competition where we asked listeners to vote in if they were Team Purple or Team Yellow. And every Friday a winner was chosen and they won a voucher, and also there was like a musical celebration at the end. So there was a different anthem for each team, Purple Rain for Team Purple, and then Yellow by Coldplay for Team Yellow. And we also extended it beyond airtime and incorporated our social pages, where our stations have a loyal and engaged social following, and we wanted to really use that. And we played clips of the winner reveals, the debates on air, and we had a small targeted campaign as well. But like I said, regionality was really core in this campaign, and the presenters really got on board. They had a lot of fun with it on air. There was a lot of banter, like different DJs took different sides, and they were very loyal to the team they chose. And also the live mentions allowed the presenters to kind of tailor the campaign and make references or phrases that might be specific to that local area, that the local listeners might only be the only people that would get that. And the campaign ran for 3 weeks, but it meant that if you were listening in Wicklow or you were listening in Donegal, it really felt like the snack election was for you. So we're just going to play a short clip of the banter on air.
Yeah. Well, it has to be to the point where I actually looked sideways at Oisin Langan outside when he said yellow.
I said yellow too.
No, I can't understand. It has to be purple for the simple reason. 2 reasons.
Go on.
Number one, it is the perfect snack with coffee.
Okay.
Or is that a bit low? Can anyone hear it?
There's a bit more grip in the mouth. Do you know what I mean? When you're trying to eat it, there's a bit more support.
You and Shane are both very strategic with your snack choices.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to be.
Yeah,
You have
well,
to- when you get to our age, you have to be.
You can't just go all willy-nilly into decisions. One more person says, I like to buy 15 of them and then make a shortcake out of the yellow snacks.
Oh, I would, yeah.
Sorry, I think that was a bit low. It worked earlier, but there was a lot of debate on air. So I'm just going to hand you back over to Gemma to talk about the execution a bit more.
Great. Okay, so one of the big questions that we had to be prepared to stand over and have a strategy around was why we planned radio. And in the FMCG world where visual media tends to dominate, we had to make sure that we had all the answers to back this up. So first of all, reach will always be one of the pillars that we have to hit. We have to reach, and we know that radio and audio, it has massive reach in Ireland. All of the JNLR figures that Kieran shares with us, and we were able to stand over and we're able to see, there's above 90% weekly reach on radio. So that's something that was really, really important for us. There's also pros and cons to every type of media channel, but the advantage that audio and radio gave us over potentially some visual media is that radio, it's a much more intimate platform that focuses purely on voice and on passion and on excitement. And also what this mechanic allowed us to do was to make listeners active participants rather than just observers or listeners of our media. So that was radio, but then actually why IRS and why the IRS plus stations? Again, I talked about it earlier, but Mondelez to a certain extent, their brands are all global. And what we are sometimes challenged with is that we have a lot of global assets. Or for this local gem, that sometimes the assets are made by UK agencies, etc. Now, they do tend to be really strong, but it is something that we like to localize as much as possible and make our campaigns look as local as possible. Having localized and personalized assets and channels, that's actually something we're literally contracted to try and improve and increase on an annual basis. So that's a great KPI for us to have. And for us, when we looked at IRS and the IRS stations, that's the real epitome of local. Erin and Katie, and actually pretty much anyone who talks to me for longer than 5 minutes knows that I'm a really proud Cavan person who listens to Northern Sound an awful lot. And for us, we genuinely believe that this partnership deliver the absolute best that local radio can deliver in Ireland.
Thanks, Gemma. So as I said, the competition ran for 3 Fridays, and over the 3 days we had just over 10,000 texts, which is double our industry benchmark. And the social element delivered 2.6 million impressions. But more interestingly, we asked the stations to tally the overall votes and let us know what was the winning snack of choice in their franchise areas and which came out top for the listeners. So as you can see, Purple was kind of the resounding winner, bar 3 areas in Dublin, Clare and Highland. And Cadbury actually said to us that this granular detail was really valuable to them, and they love being able to see which was the snack of choice. And so as you can see, all politics is local, but so is taste. So I'm going to hand you back to Gemma to talk through the business results.
Great. So the business results were really, really strong. The snack bars literally flew off the shelves. So we had an increase of 4% on sales value. And that was even with that small price increase that I spoke about that unfortunately was being passed on as a result of the cocoa prices. From a volume point of view, then again, we saw great results here. So just over 5.5 extra tons of snack bars. And to put that, I suppose, into a little bit of context, and what that means is that that's enough chocolate bars to feed the whole of Croker twice, with enough left over to invite half of the Viva as well. So it's a huge amount of extra bars. So again, that was something that the business and the sales team, not just the marketing team, they were really proud of as well. So finally, I suppose, just to summarize, why do we feel that this really worked? Well, for us, it was all about that cultural timing and the brand heritage. So that was what was leading to the relevance that we spoke about at the very start of this presentation. And in a year of noise and elections and everything like that, and in general, things are becoming noisier, but we want to make sure that we made room for joy. So Katie spoke about that earlier. And from a Cadbury point of view in general, we need to make sure that joy is part of all of our communications. Audio also let us dramatize a flavour debate like a national event. So that drama that came from audio, we couldn't have done that really in any other channel, we believe. And then finally, again, those local voices, they really led to real joy. We had no scripts, for example, for the live mentions. So it wasn't just people listening and people hearing, it really was felt. And for us, we said at the start of the campaign and we said at the very end of the campaign that if joy was going to have a sound, we wanted it to be this. And we really, truly felt that it did deliver on that. So that's our campaign. Really proud of it. And we're absolutely delighted to win gold at this year's Media Awards.
Fantastic. What a fantastic presentation. Absolutely brilliant. If anybody has any questions, please type them into the Q&A button and I will ask on your behalf. I have a few questions. The first one is, having worked in agency land for many years and working with a big global company like Mondelez, how did you manage the approval process to get such a local campaign through, which can be challenges getting approval process sometimes with big, large organizations? How did you manage that?
It comes back to a couple of things. First of all, the relationship that we have with the client, it's a really, really strong relationship. So they that are sitting in the office, they have built a relationship based on trust with the client. And the client trusts us to make sure that we make the right media strategy decisions, and that we're really, really looking at how we push the business forward. So we're not just looking at, oh, we want X amount of reach or X amount of impressions, but actually it's going to deliver a business effect. So that was really what we had to do from the start. We had to show a strategy that was going to deliver for the business. And in terms of the approval then, fully enough, it wasn't actually that difficult. The clients, they work very, very hard at getting things through that they believe in. So all we had to do was make sure that they trusted us and believed in us. And then, to be honest, it was over to them and they did it very, very seamlessly.
Brilliant. Okay. Another question. You shared the brief about, renewing love for the brand and, creating a cultural moment. How did you come up with the idea? That's the brief, but then the idea was brilliant in terms of the taste of the election. How was the process for coming up with such an innovative solution to that brief?
If I had a clear answer for that, Kieran, I think I'd be a millionaire at this stage. But from this campaign, we kind of had a lovely position to start from, which was the snack brand itself. It's quite a playful brand. It's the product itself with the yellow and the purple snack. The public are already used to choosing them. It kind of falls into that category of Tato versus King, Barry versus Lions type. So we had a kind of a warm public to play off. And then timing became everything. It's very rare that things aligned perfectly, that we could take this natural choice and really kind of put it into overdrive. The fact that politics and voting and choosing was in the zeitgeist so heavily, more than it had been for many years beforehand. So being able to kind of tie those two and then be that light relief while the political drudgery was kind of dominating the news cycles and the airs, it was an opportunity too good to miss. So we kind of made sure that we leaned into that snack brand and brought that playfulness, but in this kind of new kind of satirical way. And that's the way we kind of developed and brought it forward, and thankfully the brand and kind of believed in it and really backed it all the way through.
Great. Excellent. Well, that was superb. Another question about, I suppose, logistics and control, because there was lots to it. Obviously, you had, pre-recorded ads, which had presenters getting involved on there. You had, it had to be amplified on social, and you're working with different presenters and different on-air people to create content. How did you manage that logistically, and how did you manage the client in terms of given some free reign and freedom to on-air presenters?
I think like there were a number of elements to the campaign, but that's what we're good at in IRS Plus. Like we manage 15 stations every day for, you know, spots, branded content, you know, everything like that. And we've very much evolved in IRS Plus. We have streamlined a lot of our processes internally with the stations and with agencies and sign off and that kind of thing as well. As well as that, so it kind of required planning on our part and clear communications to the stations and obviously to Spark as well. But trust was really a big element in this campaign. Like, you know, Spark trusted us and we really trusted our stations just as much as they've built the trust relationship with their listeners. We know they can deliver campaigns like this. And you know, giving them the trust made it more authentic and engaging. But I suppose, you know, in a way, you're right. There was logistics, but it was a very exciting campaign to be part of.
Absolutely. No, very much so. Another question then, like the results are fantastic. Like 3.9%, you know, is very significant increase in sales. So a powerful result. Was there other activity happening for the brands, or was this the only piece of activity that happened during the period of the sales increase?
There was a very small amount of outdoor that was happening at the time, but obviously that's a good thing for us as well, because we always like to have some point of purchase activity if we have any other activity happening. That was it. And in totality, the media spend for this entire campaign, it was something that media planners would see as very, very small. I obviously can't share the detail of it, but it is something that you go, oh, okay, we don't have a lot of money here, but actually I think you can still do brilliant work with it.
Brilliant, yeah. Really, really powerful. There's a few questions just that I'm going to ask on behalf of people who are on the webinar. Any inspiration or advice how to bring those unique and different styles to more local brands with smaller budgets? They all encompass a challenge to get local businesses to take the creative leap away from the 20-second spots. So any advice to the audience?
Yeah, for this campaign, the advice we take from it is it's how we operate on a daily basis. Is when we look at a briefer that comes in, we look at a response that solves the problem for the business, but how do we do it in the most creative way? And that often leads to very exciting campaigns like this one, which are not the most sellable in. They're not the most straightforward, easy to get through all the approval process. But for us, we know it's the right way to do. So I think it's a hard one to answer fully, but essentially I'd lean into the creative side and pushing the creative boundaries of your creative, because the listeners are smart. Listeners will get it, and if you do have the fundamentals right and ensuring that the brand is mentioned properly throughout it or towards the end with clear signposts, having a creative idea, a clever creative idea, will do a lot of the heavy lifting. We see that in the business results of this campaign. Easier said than done. So for brands who might be nervous, we'd always advise test it. If it's not working after a test, fair enough, you've seen it. But I would always suggest doing trials, not baby out with bathwater, but trials and building on learnings from each time you go through those processes.
I also think for small businesses, something like this is even more important, because big global brands usually have much bigger budgets. And while I talked about reach, actually attention is as important for every brand, regardless of their size, but particularly for smaller businesses. If fair enough, we're hitting our reach figures, which is very, very strong, but if the attention isn't there, it's going to be the most expensive campaign or investment that business could make. So by doing something a little bit different like this, it's going to boost your attention, which should have a much more positive effect. So I actually think something like this is even more important and more obvious for them to do rather than the generic 20-second ad.
Absolutely, totally agree. Another question, really interesting one. Question here. The increase in sales, was it across the yellow and purple snack brands collectively? Did purple increase due to the results? And if so, did the yellow snack have a negative effect on sales? That's a really interesting question. I'm not sure if you have the results broken down, but
No, we do. No, it was they increased across the board. So for both purple and yellows, that's a great thing. Purple did have more sales, but actually that wouldn't be a major issue for them as long as we're increasing from both colors and from both SKUs, and that's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Another question.
What we asked to do is we do ask at a breakdown of that, because again, we might brief that into our partners and say, well, yellow needs a bit more help or purple needs a bit more help, but it's an important thing, a nugget of information for us to have.
Yeah, very good. Great. Another question, fantastic campaign, and thanks for the presentation. Is it possible that this idea, having been so successful, will now be looked at by other international parts of the client company on, radio stations in other markets? Now, I know snack is snack only, or is snack in the UK? I can't remember. Or is it Irish only?
There's very, very, very small distribution. Like as in the UK media agency doesn't even know about it. So I think it's maybe in the shops that have an Irish aisle and things like that. So it's not in general distribution.
But the principle may apply in terms of the principle of your strategy could apply to other markets. Maybe markets where probably radio or audio isn't hugely part of the media mix, which often is
the
markets.
And each market in Mondelez has their own local gems. So we're part of the media leads meet on a monthly basis to showcase learnings and case studies and things like that. So this is one of the pieces that we shared with them to show the effect of it and to show how we went about it. So again, that's something that the client loves, because we want to showcase Ireland as being brilliant. And also we want to share and hopefully, help other markets with their local gems.
Okay. Another question, did the campaign gain much earned coverage beyond the formal partnerships? So I suppose that's, commentary on social and other people picking it up and consumers talking about it, I suppose. Yeah,
we did. I don't have the exact figures on that, and that was led by the PR agency. But that's actually something that we're looking at from including that as a KPI specifically for us for next year's campaign as well.
Okay, brilliant. That is fantastic. I might just invite back, I think I'll just double check, is there one more question? I think that is it. Maybe Dave and Ryan, you might just come back, and we're just going to finish up now. And really the reason, just thank you for coming back and to say to both campaigns, brilliant campaigns, brilliant strategy, brilliant insights, brilliantly executed, and shown the power of the medium, and most of all, such powerful business results. So what you did for your clients, for your brands, was incredibly effective and incredibly powerful. So I really want to thank all of you for taking the time to share your work with people who've attended the webinar. And for people who couldn't attend the webinar, the summary of the case studies and this video will be on the Radio Centre Ireland website later this week. So you'll be able to re-look at a written form and then a recording of the webinar as well. So I want to thank everybody for attending. We're going to take a little break with the webinars for the summer. We will be back at the Radio Centre Ireland webinar in September. But for now, I want to thank everybody, particularly the participants and everybody who attended. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
Yeah.